because we don't have anything in place.
Or we can talk about extension tonight.
We can talk about
I don't
extension
know if
tonight.
they're ready for an extension. If they want an extension, that's why I put it on.
We requested, last week we talked about the fact that we probably were going to need an extension because of the extenuating circumstances with the state coming in 3 times now. And we just have not had time to put together what we need to put together to develop a formal contract. Or to have a formal contract extended to us.
I don't know, I haven't had an opportunity to sit down with Ms. Genevieve. I do apologize. 2 weeks of mandatory overtime, and this is the second week, plus 1 more to go. I will have to be with you. She did call me either Wednesday or Thursday. Either day is good for me after I get off work. I don't know, we have to
What kind of
talk about it.
extension are you looking for, Ms. Genevieve?
Well, as far as we're concerned, it can be done anytime in September, if that's what you like. I mean, we just
You mean
need
as far
time to
as
work
length?
on the
Yes.
contract.
Because
As far
she's
as
only got
length.
2 weeks, she's gonna expire in 2 weeks.
So we're looking for another 90 days, another 30 days, a year.
Another 30 days would
I'll
just be
extend
fine.
it another 30 days,
Yeah.
until we can get a
Finish it up.
formal contract.
Now, is that going to give you reality, realistically enough time? I mean, 30 days, in 2 weeks, so we're talking about
We're just extending off for 30 days until we can talk about a serious extension.
I
Well-
understand what you're saying. All I'm saying is that realistically, you said you had stated it 3 times. Is 30 days ample time enough to realistically put something in place? I mean, if you need 60, 90 days, just say I need 60, 90 days. But 30 days, I think is kind of a rush to put a contract in place. Thank you.
The part that we're working on is a summary of everything that we've done and going forward, what our plans are, kind of a business plan for the Dorchester. And then what has to occur from there, the work on the village's side is the contract, putting the contract together from that. So, that might be the extended amount of time that's needed past the 30 days. So I would say, because of what the village has to put together, meaning the lawyers, that might be the 60 days that's needed.
Well, Mr. Urban, is this pretty much where we would do a consensus to see if everybody is in agreement of another 90 days? That way, we can sit down with the attorneys and we can, how, cross all the T's and dot all the I's to make sure everything is in order, everything is in place, so that we can continue to go forward with improvements, everything that needs to be done as far as making Dorchester the epicenter of schools that it needs to be.
I think the simple answer to that is I realize we're going to have special board meetings any night, but the next scheduled meeting is September 2nd, 2 weeks from now, not within the 30-day parameter. And if we go up to the 60 days, as the mayor suggested, that would at least get you to the October 1st Monday meeting, where we could then, hopefully, you would be able to meet, lawyers would be able to meet, and they'd be able to hammer out a final contract. So I guess I would say that, yes, a consensus to roll over the present contract until the first Monday's meeting in October would be acceptable.
So what is
Okay.
the expectation? Why are we extending? What are we looking for?
Because she only had 90 days. I didn't really agree with
60 days.
60. And I really didn't agree with that in the beginning because that's just unrealistic for somebody to come in and turn something around. You can start down the road to improvement, but you're not going to make real hard changes. I am saying I would like to have an extended contract. We need to, with our attorneys, village, legislative, whoever, get with her. And I think it's going to take a little bit longer than a month because as we've seen, some of the other contracts are taking a little longer.
No problem. I'm just asking, what is the expectation?
The original purpose of the interim agreement was so that we could do our due diligence and develop a contract, because we only had like 15 to 2 weeks before it started. The problem was that when we started, there were so many issues, and the state was called in, has been in twice and are gonna come back tomorrow, again in September for 5 days. There's just been so many things like that going on that there hasn't been time to just do the due diligence, move forward with contracting, that kind of thing. I mean, we're in the throes of just working every day. So, the purpose for extending the agreement is to now give us the time to summarize what we're doing, summarize the future plans in a business plan mode, get the information to the lawyers, to the lawyer for the village, or to the village, so the village can get it to the lawyer to draw up a contract, have our lawyer review it, and so we need 30 days to do the summary, and then the lawyers need 30 days, I think, to draw up the contract and do the review. So another 60 days.
Have we been fortunate to get any new residents in?
How many?
We have 6 residents that are looking at it right now. Just based on the one shopper ad that went out. The process is that people start calling. We've had 6 people to come in and call and look at the place. We're doing constant tours of it. We've had them to bring in their relatives. Then they have to go back and talk to the family. Then of course.
Only one signed up?
There's been 2 since July.
It's been 2 since when?
July. We also, for your information, hope it doesn't start a firestorm, but we've had to let 2 go as well, because they were total care. And when the state came in and saw them, they said it's a no-go. Can't do it. People that are total care required, if you only had 2 CNAs on, they took both CNAs to take care of it.
So all I'm asking for is, what I was asking before, when y'all stood in front of the board, you guys stated y'all plan a business plan. You guys stated that you would tell us where we are. We are 60 days later, you don't have anything to do. I would like something for us. I know you got more time. Now you go home, you're not going to the next school. You just have to, that's all I'm asking. Just tell me like what you foresee in the future. So we give you 60 days, I'll come back 60 days, say, well, the state came in again, we need more time.
No, we're not gonna need more time. When we came in, when we promised the 60 days, we had no idea that the state survey was due. We had no idea that, some of the things that we kind of ran into some obstacles that are the kind of things that take your whole day.
Can you elaborate a lot on what you had to step into? Because you didn't just come in and you walked into a plethora of understanding and a plethora of everything. You walked into a mess.
She kind of described it a little bit and not to cut you off, not just to cut you off, but it's 9:30. We got a number of things on the agenda. I'd like to try to get out of here before 10. And also, she said she needs another 60 days. Can we take a vote in regards to allow her an additional 60 days? She said she thinks she can do it in 60 days. Can we get a motion?
Thank you.
Motion on the floor to grant her the 60 days.
Make a motion to.
You
don't
need to make
You don't have to.
This is a consensus.
Yeah.
Right, I'm sorry, consensus.
Well, no, our contract's expired.
In 2 weeks, but we're asking for an additional 60 days to do what she needs to do. And then come back, let's make a presentation. We're not voting tonight,
We're not in a
committee meeting.
There is no vote.
Okay.
To give them additional 60 days.
60 days, that's all we're looking at.
I give
Okay,
my,
hold on a minute.
Okay,
Okay, we're gonna do it, okay.
so we don't need it.
Trustee
Yes.
Anderson, Trustee Christian, we only grant her an additional 60 days to get what she needs to get done. Okay.
He's agrees with it. Yes.
Okay.
that's fine with that.
Trustee Brown? Yes. Trustee Henry?
I'm gonna agree with you, but I want some black and white.
Okay. All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Burton, let's move forward.
Next item on the agenda is electrical aggregation program renewal, review of bids that were put out. A number of months ago, the Rock River Energy Services Company made a presentation to this board. They were brought forward by Trustee Pearson, who met up with them at the last IML conference. Our contract with Integris ended in late December, early January. The residents of Dolton received a letter from Integris back in December, early January, stating they had the option to drop them, stay with them, go wherever they wanted to go. What you've got is a bunch of data, and actually I'm going to give you some more to look at. No decision has to be made tonight, but you can look at the numbers. These numbers change literally by the hour. Another update was the company we were with, Integris, is now part of ComEd. They are no longer Integris. We can tell the residents, upon your direction, that you can go out and get whatever energy company you want. You can, because you passed an ordinance in 2012, literally dictate which one of these companies you feel is going to give the best rate, and then everyone in the village has the right to sign up for them. I do have a representative from the company here if you have any questions, but if there is any interest to, we have to make a decision at some point to either send a letter to the residents that says you're on your own, or we have decided with XYZ company for the next 3 years. So this would be on the agenda for September 2nd.
Who do we have?
Right now,
Yeah, you said there's somebody here right now?
right here. If you have
Oh,
questions.
he was here from a couple months back.
First thing
That's what I said, yes.
First thing I'd like to ask is your contract term for 3 years?
It's whatever the board,
Whatever you want.
whatever the
He
board.
doesn't represent any of the energy companies.
Okay.
He is a consultant that does this pro bono to put out the bid packet, received all the bids, changed them as late as this afternoon or yesterday to update the number.
So he works for free?
He works for whatever company that put in the bid, he will get a commission from them. It doesn't, to them, you could go with, as you saw, Constellation, Verde Energy, Energy, Mid-America, or Integris. It doesn't matter to them.
All right.
So this will be on the September 2nd. I will try polling you via email as to whether you just want to let it expire and you don't want any of these companies.
It's already expired.
Or which will expire, but we have to
Yeah.
notify them that go
Right.
back out
And
to your own.
it's expired in I think the letter was sent out to the residents.
They got, the initial letter was from Integris, the next one would come from us. We would have the burden of.
And I'm not sure if we're required to send that letter out.
We're not, it would just be a feel-good piece to let people know that they can go out and do whatever they want to do.
Right. And in this case, some of them have done that.
There are some good rates that were submitted as I reviewed these documents up until the one I just got tonight. That they're actually lower rates than what we have from Integris originally.
Mayor, if I could, I got some numbers for you
Okay.
that I have to share.
All right.
Okay. And I'll try to be very, very brief,
Okay.
but I know you got the agenda yet. Currently, the Integris rate that you have for the community this month of August is 9.37 cents. We all already saw the article that was in the Cranes magazine saying Dolton had the highest local residential rates.
Yes.
We can do something about that, or the board can do something about that. One of the comments was, well, people can go and leave on their own and do whatever they like to do. 3,100 people are still, accounts are still with Integris now. Back in January, they could have started opting out. 2,100 are on a supplier that they chose for themselves. So some 2,100 people have done that, and 2,800 people are in ComEd. So the majority are still on the community program paying the highest rates. Our rate, you got 3 options. 1, don't do anything, just keep going on as it is. That's not fair to your people.
Right.
2, send Integris a notice to end the program.
Right.
That they'll notify ComEd and they'll drop everybody back.
I think that notice was sent already, Mr. Urban.
It was sent out in December.
Okay.
I have a copy of that letter on my file.
So you notify Integris, you want to switch program.
Right.
Third option is choose a new supplier, and we go through the process and get a rate, and it's under ComEd, then you have a rate people can compare to. If they get a phone call, solicitation, they've got something they can measure to.
Let me ask you this. I would think this came from you.
Yes,
Okay. How come ComEd's not on?
ComEd, it's right up there, see where it says supplier and the price options,
Yeah.
7.596.
Well, you know, it seems this is kind of deceiving to me. You got ComEd here in very small numbers on the top,
Okay.
which is the lowest rate. And then you got all these other suppliers here that is very well pronounced at a higher rate. Now, with a glance, taking a look at this, you wouldn't even think that.
Well,
Let me finish.
Okay.
ComEd was even on the sheet. Now, are you soliciting for ComEd along with these other suppliers or not?
No, I'm not soliciting for ComEd. ComEd is impartial.
Okay.
But-
So
but
right
that's-
now, as this document stands, ComEd will give the better rate.
Actually, Mid-American, down the last number at the bottom,
Uh-huh.
7.33 cents.
That's on the third year though. We're talking about with the inception, right now, today, as it stands.
If we started it, they'd have 7.33 cents this month.
That's showing the third year. How come it's not showing the first year?
That would be a three-year contract.
That's if we chose to elect a 3-year contract.
That's
Yeah.
correct.
Now, with ComEd, you don't have to elect a contract. Is that correct?
No,
So,
you're on the right track.
okay, so correct me now. If someone wanted to choose ComEd today, without signing a contract, their rate would be 7.5. Is that correct?
That's
According
correct.
to your document.
Correct.
But if they choose to go with the one at the bottom, Mid-America, they can't get that 7.33 rate unless they sign a 3-year contract.
What you do as a board is you would sign a contract with Mid-American at that rate for 3 years. Now, anyone, the people still have the right to do whatever. They make the choice. All you're doing is setting a price and drawing a line in the sand. Here's something for you to take or leave. It's your decision.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying, if we sign a contract today, we'll be signing a contract with a 7.62 rate for the first year. Second year, 7.46 rate, and we wouldn't get a benefit of a lower rate until the third year. Now, with signing that contract for 3 years, if ComEd decides to do what they did when we signed the contract with Integris, is lower their rate for 6 months, and we wind up locked into a contract that was more money, the cost of the residents more money, then this would be to our benefit.
Two things. 3 years is month 1 through month 36.
Okay,
The longer you go, the cheaper it is. So that lower rate starts month 1.
okay.
Okay? And that's a very good thing you brought up, 'cause I wanted that clarity. Second thing is, people can leave, next year ComEd sets the rates every May.
Right,
We don't know what they are. If it would happen to be below the community,
yeah.
people can opt out, no charge.
That's the problem. People don't know that they have the advantage of opting out. And when you came in and you said, you gave the numbers in regards, even though we eliminated the contract in December, there's still 3,100 people out there paying the highest rate than anybody else,
They're paying
according
month
to
to
the
month.
range.
They're paying month to month.
So it's some people don't really understand the program. They don't understand what they have to do in the stipulations in the contract. It says I think they have to be notified within 30 days advance notice before they opt out. There's a time period there that you have to give written notification, I might add, not a verbal notification, to get them to opt out of the program.
Right. Your issue right now, what do we do with these 3,100 people?
Then we should notify the 3,100 people and let them know, even though they got notified by Integris, and like you said, I'm not attorney or for plum or whatever the case may be, maybe we should send a notification and say, hey, you have an opportunity to get a lower rate with ComEd than what you're paying right now.
It's a good point. We've got, right now, people have 3 options. They can choose their own supplier.
Right.
They can go on ComEd, and they have a community rate. If you close the program down, then they're on their own with 2 options. There's been some communities that have said, we don't want to do the program anymore.
Right.
They've gotten a lot of negative feedback back because people said, we voted this in. We want a community rate to measure to. You owe us at least that,
Yeah,
and if nothing else, they want that third choice.
and I'm quite sure you've been following this with Integris. If you look at the number of communities that originally voted Integris in, that have now chosen not to use Integris because of what had happened. ComEd, when Integris came in, they provided those numbers in regards to a lower rate. What did ComEd do? It says, okay, fine, we're gonna lower our rate, and they lowered it. Then what the contract was for some of these villages is signed for a 2-year contract that was stuck into the contract for 2 years. So, and now, look at the rate of Integris. We got 3,100 of our residents that's still out there with a huge rate, 9-point-something%.
Each month, these 3,100 people,
Yes,
that's $4,300 that leaves this community every month
right?
from a higher rate. And from what I've heard, we need every penny in this community. And I'm saying we, I'm included, because I'm invested. We work with 130 communities on aggregation. We've done about 38 renewals. Not one of us that might come into that number rate lower than ComEd.
When have you done the renewals? Just since Integris has been out the door, right?
Our renewals is we work with the community from day one when they
I
pass.
just asked you, when have you started doing the renewals? Since all these other communities have opted out and or their contracts had expired with Integris. Now, Integris just came on the scene a couple of years ago.
Right, this is still a new thing in Illinois. This has only been around 3 years.
Right.
Residents have saved $16 billion in Illinois on the difference in the rates. What we want to do is, we don't know what the ComEd rate is next year or the second or third year. What's prudent though is that the board should pick a rate, and next year if ComEd goes to 8 or 8.5 cents, we got a good rate. If it goes the other direction,
We're
then
locked in at your rate.
there's no termination fee, people can leave at will.
People don't know that, and that's the very reason that there's 3,100 people still still with Integris.
People are on this are getting smarter every day. We handle phone calls and people are wanting to know what are our options. Like I say, we get 100 communities, so we get all the calls. We also take the calls, if we do this program, we take the calls for your staff, we work with your staff so that people are informed.
Yeah.
Now, don't discount your residents because it is new. Dolton had a very good program, but in January, something should have been done in January instead of going on the month-to-month, which is not a good deal.
I agree with you.
Okay. My thought is for the board to really consider locking in a rate, and I was going to say.
How do you get out of the contract, a 3-year contract that we signed for all these residents, and the rates decide to go the other way?
The people can be notified next May. Here's what the rate is. We can publish it on the website,
Okay.
put it out in the
So, but we've
paper.
signed a contract for 3 years.
Yes.
Is there an opt-out clause in that within that 3 years?
People,
No,
Well-
is there an opt-out contract?
between the village and that,
Yeah.
and the supplier,
Village and or the resident,
the resident can opt out anytime.
within the 3 years.
Within the 3 years, with no termination fees is what we negotiate. They're free to walk. That's the most important thing.
What about the village?
The village, all you're doing is establishing a rate and a time period that people can have for a rate. But you're not signing the village on to anything. You're not paying any money, you're not receiving any money, it's all transparent.
Then why do we need a contract?
You need a contract, we need a legal vehicle to establish this rate for the group. And that's what the legislation, that's the law, how it was written.
I'm just, and it's up to the board to decide if that's what we want to do, but I'm just, I can't see ComEd sitting back and saying, we're gonna let, and let's not talk about Temple Park, let's talk about Riverdale, let's talk about Cayman City, let's talk about South Holland, those communities that border our communities. You know what they're doing?
They're going back to comment
Exactly.
because they couldn't get a raise